Hello, good evening, Facebook friends. Good evening, leaders. My name is Tiara, and I am your communications coach. I love giving communication tips and strategies to leaders to help them both personally and professionally. Let me tell you, tonight, what I'm here to help you with, I am here to talk to you about something of you who are having some post-election anxiety after what has occurred on Tuesday. I'm seeing a lot of posts going out there of people who are frustrated, a lot of posts of people who are irritated, a lot of posts of people who are sad and they're fearful. And I want to encourage you tonight. I want to encourage you, and I want to give you the tips and the tools that you need to know how to encourage yourself through the next 4 years, because there's no reason for us to live in fear. Let me say this, and I always say this in all of my videos, leaders, that this is a kingdom conversation. Those of you who are members of this kingdom, you know who you are, and you're more than welcome to this dialogue. If you are not a member of the kingdom, you are more than welcome. You can always inbox me. I love sharing my faith, but I want to encourage people of faith today, and I want to get you back on track with how you ought to be talking to yourself. And my videos specifically are communication tips for how you will have internal dialogue, because once you correct your internal dialogue, then how you talk to others, I always say it takes care of itself. So let's just talk, for starters, on what you need to do to fully empower yourself in this time. You may be very disappointed in the election results. You may have hoped things would go another way. I think a lot of people are experiencing shock, and a lot of people are experiencing just downright disappointment, and that's fine. Everyone goes through it every 4 years, but it's okay to be disappointed. What it is not okay to be is terrified and fearful. I have to say this. Number one, if you are afraid, then you have really put yourself in a position where you believe some things that may not necessarily be true. And I want to remind you, as a person who is very deeply involved in our government, working public service, deeply involved in our political systems and structures, deeply involved as a community person who volunteers all the time, who has to interface with these leaders, I want you to understand their role, because once you understand that, you can stop being afraid. Okay, for starters, the moment that you think that these people have the power to take your freedom away, you already lost it. Your power belongs to you. Your freedom belongs to you. This country belongs to you. These people are simply representatives, okay? So no matter what, anyone who has ever found freedom knew they were already free before it was coded in any law and any constitution. You have to stop giving your freedom away, and you have to stop thinking that people are responsible for making you free. That responsibility belongs to you. It belongs to your state of mind. It belongs to your state of heart. No one is responsible for that. They can govern infrastructure, and they can be responsible for that. But I want you to empower yourself and tell yourself, I am responsible. Recommit to yourself. I am responsible for my personal freedom, for my personal rights. I am responsible for protecting them. And I promise myself that I will guard that with all costs. That is in the blood, in the belly of the American, that we fight for freedom. All of our constitutional rights are designed to protect your fight for freedom. The fight for freedom belongs to you. That's why you have a right to bear arms. That's why you have a right to assembly. That's why you have the right to say the things you want to say without the government coming after you, because you have the right to fight for your freedom. And no one can take that from you. It is a God-given right, and we fought for those rights long before it was ever put into law. You had to believe it. Harriet Tubman had to believe she was already free to walk off a plantation. You don't think you're a slave to do something like that. You have to know that you are free to walk away from certain things. So stop giving people the power to make you feel like you are not free. If you've done that, I want you to automatically correct yourself, because you're giving a human being more power than they have when your God-given freedoms are between you and your God. So take responsibility for your rights and your freedoms, and what you're going to do to make sure that you are always going to fight to protect them, okay? So I want you to stop worshiping political parties. This is another thing I want you to commit to doing. I will not worship a political party. I will not worship a political office. So if you were terrified, it's because you have elevated these offices in your heart, and you need to dethrone them, take them down, okay? You are an American. You are an American citizen. That means you are in charge. These people work for you, for the people, by the people. That's what this ought to be. Anytime they find themselves with too much power, it's because not enough people are involved for them to be afraid of. It is their job to be afraid of us. It is not our job to be afraid of them. This is not a dictatorship, so stop declaring that. Stop putting it out there into the airwaves. Stop putting it out there into your mind, into your heart. This is a democracy. This is a republic. Get involved. Motivate your friends and your family members to get involved, get informed, get in the know, and commit to yourself. Commit to your journey that you are going to make sure that you represent your family's interests at all costs. And it doesn't matter who's in power, because you know what? It's not supposed to matter who the president is. We should never be empowering any president, whether we like them or not, to be able to take any freedoms away. They're not supposed to have that kind of power. That's why we have branches of government. Government is supposed to run on a system of checks and balances. Okay, that's why they have constitutions. That's why every state has its own constitution. You have to commit to understanding the way that your country works. And once you understand that, once you empower yourself, you will understand that it is their job to be afraid of the voice of the people. And guess what? As a person who's worked in public service under people of a very high rank, they are 100% afraid of what you all have to say. It should not be the other way around, because if you're afraid of them, you've given them too much power. And we all have learned that as adults, just in the world of bullying. You don't get to let your country bully you. That is why we have constitutional rights and freedoms, okay? So we have the ability to fight. So make sure that you pick up whatever tool you have to pick up. Commit to it. Commit to your freedom. Commit to your journey, and commit to knowing what it takes for you to take your country back and put yourself back in the power seat as an American citizen. You do not have to live in fear. That is unnecessary. So let me talk about this. I want you to commit to holding your leaders accountable, and I want you to say, I am going to hold my leaders accountable. What we have done oftentimes is we find a political party that we want to support and rally behind. You select a political party because that's who you have decided to hold accountable. And when you decide that, you know, your political party is going to function more like a sorority versus this is a group of people who are in charge and I'm going to hold them accountable, then we have these systems that don't work for anybody, because it's just about them being in power, versus us saying, as the American people, the American citizens, that we are the ones in the populace, okay? There's more of us than there is of them. We're supposed to be holding political parties accountable. We are not supposed to be joining them. They're like their boys and girls clubs, members only clubs that we're just going to party with and have fun with. That is worshiping an office that we should not be. It does not work for us. We see how broken it is. Neither party has all the answers. No one is perfect. All of them have blood on their hands. All of them have deep backgrounds in racism and sexism and all of different things. None of them are innocent. None of them are clean. So we have to hold them accountable. That is our job. That is our role. And I want you to commit to that. Stop worshiping political parties, okay? You're in big trouble. Like I said, the moment you start worshiping political parties, the moment you start worshiping political offices, the moment you start worshiping political leaders, you've already lost your rights. That's what it took, because you made them responsible for something that was your responsibility. Anytime that happens, you will get swept. And that is not just a political tip. So I want you to recommit to yourself and say, I'm in charge. I'm in the power seat. This is my country. And the more informed I am, and the more I'm willing to hold people accountable, the more I will be empowered to protect my personal freedom. Do not live in fear. Another thing I want you to do is I want you to stop tolerating the frequency of fear. Stop tolerating it. If you are terrified right now, it's because you have probably let in a lot of messaging and a lot of outlets, and a lot of people talk to you about their anxieties, and a lot of fear messages go out. If someone is talking to you in that way with scare tactics, it is manipulative. It is destructive to the soul and the spirit. It paralyzes you and it steals your peace. There is a way for someone to share with you facts and truth without trying to scare you. And if you are afraid right now, it's because you gave someone power to put you in that position. And you should not be there. There is nothing to fear. I said this in the beginning, that this is a kingdom conversation. And kingdom-minded people understand that the power they have been given, that what they have been given is one of love, power, and a sound mind. That is the position that you should be in as a person who believes love, power, sound mind, not fear, anxiety, doubt. We don't live there, okay? So empower yourself. You need to understand these things. What is the point of living in this republic if you're just going to be terrified of whoever's in charge? We should be able to have the worst person in charge, and that person cannot take your rights and freedoms because they haven't been given the power. We have to start thinking and being involved on the offense too, okay? And in the defense. Vote strategically, not just saying I like that person, so the person I like, I'm going to make sure they have all the power they need. Guess what? Well, what happens when someone comes in that you don't like? You have to think, like, if that office is given to the worst possible person, what type of power should they have? And you should want them to have as little as possible. Not as much as possible, because the power belongs to you. This is your country. And I want you to take responsibility for whatever your role is. Stop tolerating the frequency of fear. If you're going to turn on a news media outlet and you feel that anxiety boiling up, that anxiety, turn it off. It is demonic. It is negative. It's not doing anything for you. It is not the job of the news media or anything to terrify you. That is manipulation. It is control. And I want you to take your mind back. I want you to take your heart back. I want you to take your rights back into your hands. Take it out of the hands of the government and put it in your hands. That is why America exists, because it belongs in your hands. You're in the power seat. You're in charge, not them. They govern. They oversee. They represent your interests. Okay, so right now, if the Republican Party is in charge, it is your job to hold the Republican Party accountable. You should get involved. You should be a voice. You should be speaking to them about what you need, about how to represent you. You should be guiding. You should be in the power seat. You're in charge. It was the same for Democrats. When they were in charge, you should have been holding them accountable, speaking up, getting involved. We don't worship politicians. That is not what we do. We assist by telling the truth. And we are people, we are children of truth, children of love, children of light. So I want you to commit to that journey. Remember what I said, commit to not allowing anyone to manipulate you with fear tactics. There are so many false things I heard throughout this entire campaign. I was very quiet this year. Normally I'm very politically involved. This year I was quiet, but there were so many incorrect things that were going out. So what does that mean? If you're afraid, you just don't know enough information, which means learn how to do the research, listen to both sides, and put the pieces together. Because that's how the truth comes in. The truth doesn't come in from one party just telling you their side and what they want you to know. Stop allowing yourself to be manipulated. Listen to all sides, listen to all perspectives, and put the pieces together. Put all the facts together. Do the research, do your homework. You're not going to be able to turn on Fox, and you're not going to be able to turn on CNN and get all the messages you want. Everyone has an agenda. It makes them a lot of money. And they all benefit from you being scared. So why in the world would you spend your day and your time listening to anyone who benefits from you being afraid? We don't do that. So recommit to yourself of doing whatever it takes for you to be empowered, for you to feel empowered. This is your country. You're in charge. You're in charge of your freedom. You're in charge of your rights. And you never put that in anyone else's hands. If you do that, we are not Americans. It's not for kingdom-minded people to be afraid. It is for us to be empowered. It's for anything. It's for us to be emboldened. Speak the truth. Learn it. Do your research. Do your homework. My final tip for you tonight, and I hope that this was very helpful, is for you to seek God for wisdom and know your role and your rights. Do your homework. What is your part in this journey? What ought you to do? right? Because guess what? You have to accept that everyone does not benefit from things the same way you do. You have to accept that everyone does not have good experiences with the person that you wanted in power. And those people are entitled to fight for their freedoms, just the same as you are, okay? Some people had terrible experiences with another president. They all are guilty of hurting people. They all are guilty of terrifying people, of disappointing people. And as a person who's worked in government, they're often not choosing between what is good and what is bad. They're usually choosing between what is terrible and what is awful, and they have to decide who the casualties can be. Terrible place to be in. And I'm not saying that as a defense. I'm saying that to say that you have to make yourself to where you are not vulnerable to their choices. That is your job. As an American citizen, it is not their job. You have to learn how to live above that system. You have to learn that kingdom system that works for you and works for your family, and try not to slip into their hands as much as possible. And whatever it is that you are designed to say and do in this path, in this trajectory, for why we're here in life, whatever your purpose is, get into that power seat and commit to that journey. So again, let's go back. I'm just going to give you a quick recap of what I've told you tonight for how to help you in this, okay? Number one, take responsibility for your rights and freedom. This is my freedom. These are my rights. This is my country. The only person who can take my rights from me is my God. The moment you give them away, I will not give my rights away to anyone. No one is responsible for protecting them, and no one can do a better job than I can. Can't nobody decide better where my money should go than me. Put yourself back in the power seat. Number two, I am going to stop worshiping political parties. Recommit to that. No more do you get to be a part of them. Like I said, like it's a sorority or fraternity. They all have agendas. They all do. Okay? They're all very deeply flawed. Remember, your part with political parties is to say, I'm going to hold whoever is in charge accountable for how they treat me, how they treat my neighbor. I'm going to be a voice. I'm going to commit to taking the court summons. You know, if you get summoned by the court to be a witness, go represent. I don't know why the word is losing my mind right now. But I want you to commit to that. I want you to commit to getting involved. I want you to commit to volunteering. I want you to commit to going and giving opponent and proponent testimonies for legislation. I want you to commit to taking a look and seeing what the Ohio Senate and what the House is doing. They're all public meetings. I want you to commit to going to your city council meetings. I want you to commit to going to your township meetings. I want you to commit to going to your school board meetings. Make the commitment. Pick one. Hold them accountable and make sure they're doing right by you and your family, because so many people do not show up. And especially if you're a minority, go to the meeting and see how many people are there that look like you. And wonder why you get left behind in some of those choices. If you're afraid, get out there, get involved, take some people with you. Commit to that. Okay? Hold the leaders accountable. Stop tolerating fear. Stop tolerating people to scare you. When I'm talking to you, I'm here to empower you. I'm here to tell you that you're in charge. I'm here to tell you that you can do this. I'm here to tell you you're going to survive it. I'm here to tell you that they can't do anything to you that you don't let them do. Okay? That's what I'm telling you, not to roll over and just take whoever is in power is chipping away at your rights and freedoms. They're only doing it because you're not fighting back hard enough and you don't have enough people fighting with you. Get involved. Stop tolerating fear. I'm here to empower you, not to scare you. You're being manipulated by the media. You're being manipulated by false messages. You're being manipulated by people who want access to power that's trying to make you afraid that if I don't get this power, this thing's going to happen. That's not necessary. They can give you facts, they can give you information, and you should be empowered to make those choices for yourself. But people don't want you making choices for yourself, because that means that you might actually decide against them. But people who care about you, people who really, really care about you, will let you make the choice. They will give you the information the best way they know how, and they will sit back and let you choose. It is not the job of our media to tell you how to vote, who to vote for, and to manipulate that process. Okay? Stop tolerating fear. Stop tolerating it. Do not be manipulated any longer. Last, seek God. Find out what your role is, what you ought to be doing. How should it be in your schedule? How should it be in your budget? What should you be doing? What should you be reading? What should you be finding out about yourself and your country, and how to get involved with this so that you can secure your family, your friends, your community? I hope this was helpful, because I'm telling you, the more you know, the less anxiety you have. If you are afraid, you think you know something, but when you have the truth, you know the truth will make you free. The truth does not bring fear. It doesn't. The truth brings power. The truth brings empowerment. The truth brings encouragement. The truth brings strategy. That's what the truth does. So if you're sitting around afraid, you don't have the truth. You have some facts in a very diluted, manipulative message. The truth makes you free. The truth does not terrify you. You should be empowered and you should be emboldened. So I want you to take your power back. I want you to take your rights back. I want you to take your freedom back. I want you to know it never left your hands, and it doesn't matter who the president is. It never left your hands. It's between you and God. And if you decide you don't want to do anything, fine, that was your choice. That was your choice. So empower yourself. But I'm telling you, the more you know, the deeper you dive, and not listening from someone else's perspective and just believing them. Do your research. Talk to people on the other side of the aisle. Listen to their side of it. Not listening to dismantle them, but listen to people who are knowledgeable. Okay? So I really do hope that this encouraged you tonight. But I'm telling you, there's no need to fear. We all have been disappointed by election results, but never, not one time, have I ever been terrified. That is not a position that I take. That is not a stance that my heart takes. I don't live like that, okay? Period. Do you know why? Because I know I will do whatever I have to do to secure my freedom. And I know also that there are enough people and there is enough power behind me, with me, in me, through me, to make sure that I will be all right. So we're going to be all right, America. We're going to be all right. God's people, people of faith, we're going to be all right, leaders. We're going to be all right, because you're going to make sure of it, right? All right, do your part. Recommit. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching this broadcast. If you know anyone that is struggling right now with the election results, if you know anyone that is living in this form of fear, I hope you will share it with them. Also, I have plenty of messages on how to communicate with yourself, especially around anxiety. As a person who is healed from an anxiety disorder, I've learned a lot about the power of inner dialogue and what it is that you need to tell yourself to overcome those moments in your life. Okay, so hopefully you'll skip over to my YouTube channel. You can go to my website, tiaramey.com. I give a lot of my communication tips and strategies in my book. It's called Canceled: Mastering Difficult Conversations in a Modern World, where you can also find it on Audible. So anyhow, thank you again for watching this message. Feel empowered. Go out there, do what it is you have to do. Take your country back, take your life back, take your mind back, take your heart back, because it's yours, okay? God bless you. I love you all, and I know that the Lord loves you more. Good night.